All right, I see 3 people that are still putting a name in, and then we'll get started. I see Ramrod is on. Rocky is on. Ben is on. Tovar is on. All right, at this point, I'm going to read off the names of the people that I know are here. And actually, I'll read off the people I know are here, and then if you don't hear your name at the end, let me know. So I have Rocco here. Why did I not change that? Sorry. No, it is Rocky. I had Rocco from G a long time ago. That's my fault. So I've got Rocky here. I've got Jim Connell, Donahue, Gio, Marcos, Holcomb, Scott, Bobby, Ramrod, Sawyer, Shortle, Tovar, McGaw, and Ben Zinker. Anyone else that did not hear their name that's here?
Hey, Sinan Osdemer is here too.
Perfect. Thank you, Sinan.
Miller's here.
Thanks, Brett. Anyone else? Anyone else? Going twice? All right. Well, that being said, let's get started.
Wait, you have somebody
naked. I've got Seidlers. What's happening back there?
This could get real interesting.
Hey. Are you talking about on the PlayStation thing? Yeah, you just gotta play, dude. I can't help you right now. You got a bunch of creepy old dudes looking at you in your underwear. You're hiding. You're hiding.
Daddy, I can't send boss yet.
Well, figure it out, because I got a conference call started. Okay?
How to?
All right. Thanks, Bryson. Bye. Love you. All right. That being said,
that was amazing.
That's welcome to real life. You missed. That was
like this. That was like the CNN interruption. You know, when the guy's on the thing and the kid comes in. It was great.
Well, that's the best is so that's Bryson. That's my middle son, and when he was probably 2, he had a oh, hold on, Steve's waiting for the information for the call. Let me post this to him real quick. He had the ambulance come to our house because he decided that he wanted to try to drink a penny out of a Coke bottle, and of course it lodged his airway and full on CPR. It was a special moment in Dad's life. So, 6 months later, we're sitting in a moment just like this for a Pro Consul call, and I've got a hot mic at my house, and all of a sudden the F-bomb tirades start flying because it looks like he's about to do the same thing again. And what I didn't realize after I self-reported the whole thing was that Riggs had muted me about 10 seconds before I just called my son every name in the book. It was a really special moment. But, yeah, anyway. Now that I've recorded that on our call also, it lives on forever. So let's get started tonight. Glad to be with everybody. I know we have a couple that are going to join us, but most definitely want to be mindful of your time. You should have if you're looking at the screen, beyond seeing our wonderful mugs on people that are on camera, we have a pretty short agenda tonight, but it's most definitely loaded with just amazing content for our first Pro Consul team session after our introduction. So it's officially session number 2 at Workshop, but Jim Holcomb is going to spend a lot of time tonight telling us about the new Ritual for Life program, and then also giving us an update on preparation for Brotherhood as it stands right now, just a little progress update, and then obviously a little more details for some of our people that are new to it. For those that don't know or didn't see, I got back from Chicago last weekend where we had our last Team Balfour meeting before Workshop. So for shit's getting real, we are getting real close to heading to campus and getting started with things. A couple of things that came out of that meeting for you all to know, because there's some of those questions people are asking for. You should have chapter assignments by middle of the week. My understanding is that they have gone out to all the Grand Paraders to finalize. The Paraders were going to have 3 days to look those over, and then they would be going out to you. So once you get those, you'll get an email on that, and I'll also see it on my roster here. Once you get those, jump in the group meet. Start sharing with people, what groups you have, and you can start doing a little reconnaissance just from within the group because people will know about different chapters, things like that. And then remember that protocol we talked about when you reach out to the chapters. Reach out to that praetor first, reach out to the chapter advisor second, and then the undergrads. And then if you have time and want to, you can reach out to the university to see how they're doing. But just try to be really mindful of that process as we go through those things. But really excited to see who you have for chapters and see which young minds you get to meddle with this coming August. Sigma Chi U training also is apparently done. It just has not been uploaded to the server yet, so that was supposed to happen. Crispy was in Denver with the Ritual for Life committee this last weekend, and it was supposed to be on the front burner from him when he got back from Denver. So hopefully, again, by middle or end of this week, you're getting that training. Here's what my understanding is on the training this year for those of you that did it last year. It's approximately 90 minutes total of training that will have just some new information for this year that you need to know. And then there's almost a way to audit out of some of the information. So if you're someone that maybe is very versed in P4B, that you can ask a few questions and audit a portion of that. At least that's how the training stands right now. We did as a committee ask that we make it, at least a portion of that P4B mandatory for everyone, because we think it is so important that everyone has a firm understanding on that content. So that might change, but as of when I left the meeting, that had not changed quite yet. But that training, once it gets out, let's do your best to break those chunks up and get that done, well ahead of workshop. Last year, if you remember, we gave you all of 3 weeks, I think, to get it done prior to workshop. You're going to have a couple months now, but like anything, try not to procrastinate on it too much. And then updated schedule, not a whole lot changed as far as our schedule for a workshop, but I did update the schedule that was on Sigma Chi W, and I actually created a whole new schedule page for it, and I started to just start making some notes in there so you can look and see as a team what content we'll be covering. So the schedule I had on there was about 6 months old, so it has some minor tweaks on there, but that is on our team website for you to look at and check into. Just looking at my notes for our meeting in Chicago. Let me see. Again, Sigma Chi U training at this point, there's one piece for all of the facilitators. There's an 8-question test about facilitation. If you pass it, you get a move on. And if you don't pass it, then you might get voted off the island, and I don't know what happens to you. So the word on the street was you've got to be a real dolt to not pass it. Going through, just again, looking at my notes, important things. Last year we had the surveys for the undergraduates to do on the app. Yes, the app should be a smoother process than last year, but we really need to make sure that we're getting that feedback from our undergraduates at that time. So in your groups, whether it be your chapter group or your pro-consul team groups, try to wrap up about 5 minutes early so they can get those surveys done. They're usually just 1 or 2 question surveys, but it's really important that we do get that feedback back from the undergraduates and that we capture it in the moment, not hours later while they're remembering it. Tenant scanning, we can talk about this, get a little bit closer. Strategic visioning, we at one point had talked about that process getting moved, to the spring, or getting pushed back until further on campus. That's been tabled for right now, so strategic visioning with our chapter teams will happen exactly as it has happened in the past. So no changes there at this point. The chapter advisors asked if they could come to some of our chapter sessions. We said, oh, hell no, that's not your time. You can go to lunch with your chapters. So if you have a chapter advisor that's trying to go into your room, or when you talk with the chapter advisors ahead of time, make sure to set the stage, especially our newer facilitators. Our more seasoned facilitators probably won't have a problem telling a chapter advisor, thanks but no thanks. But newer guys, it's hard to say no. That's your time to work with that chapter. They're going to tell you things that they don't tell their chapter advisor, and just get the buy-in from the chapter advisor ahead of time. Hey, if there's things you need to know, I'm going to make sure to pass that on to you. but they need to respect where you're at and what you're trying to accomplish. And like I said, they've been told that, but every now and then you have someone that feels that they're important enough that they can make a cameo, and we have really tried to discourage that. Keynote speaker, for those of you that are Top Gun fans, Captain Scott Altman is going to be our keynote this year. He is an astronaut, and he is also one of the original Top Gun pilots. He was in the filming of the movie, and he apparently was the pilot that was that showed the bird in the infamous bird scene. It was something like this. For those that are watching at home, I think I can get upside down in my chair enough. It was pretty sweet. So he's our keynote this year. We're really one of our own from Pro Consuls, Jeff Twyble, he has stepped up and he is taking over SIGFest this year as part of his ascension towards the top of Team Balfour. So really important that as Pro Consuls we support Jeff in just being part of SIGFest again this year. Last year we had a great showing, but Twyble, has 14 plus years of experience with Pro Consuls, and he's very close friends with a lot of us. It's helping him be successful with what he's doing this year. It's important that we support that. And the only other last thing I'll leave you with, we'll talk about it more in the future. Our incoming Grand Consul, Tommy Gettings, has asked that, especially in our chapter teams, but in our officers' core teams also, that we do spend some time just talking about social media with the undergrads, and just, not necessarily forming policy, but just educating on, good choices, bad choices, how choices have consequences. So we'll jump into that a little bit more in the future also. But those are my notes from Chicago. If you have any specific questions of did we talk about other things, feel free to message me offline on that. Any questions on anything I've covered? I've moved on pretty quick on that, but any questions on any of our Chicago notes stuff? Copy. Moving right along then. I know that G had asked for people to hold off on their travel shortly. We are lifting the travel ban at this point, so we would love for you to go in and start booking your travel. We're asking if you can, and this is hard, and I realize it's impossible for some of you, but here's our ask, is that you arrive on campus by 1 p.m. We're going to try something new. We're going to get comfortable being uncomfortable, have a little bit of fun, and share a laugh as a team from 2 to 4. And then we'll break out and be done in time for dinner at 5. After dinner, we will do what Pro Consuls do best, and we will go and just do some team building and some bro time, probably at the local bowling alley again, and just have a great time together. But those of you that have the ability to do so, would love to have you be on campus by 1 to be part of the shenanigans that will happen between 2 and 4. Questions on travel? All right.
Hey, Wake, I'm sorry, Holcomb
Yeah.
here. What time do we have to arrive at the airport to be at Bowling Green by 1? I forget what the shuttle time is.
The shuttle. Are you on the shuttle, or are you a car person? It's
So far, I'm on the shuttle.
Okay, that's unfortunate, but we can change that. Are you going to wear corduroy pants by chance?
Now you're working Bobby's side of the street. I will be an ardent defender of the sweater vest and corduroy pants.
Love it. Sorry, Bobby, just had to ask, buddy. That picture is still one of my favorites. It's the shuttle. Again, they're trying to lock you into shuttle times. So most importantly, make sure you sign up for a shuttle. Jim, working backwards, I would say an hour and a half easily, because the shuttles never are on time. It's a little more than an hour drive. So I would say an hour and a half, 2 hours if you're going to take the shuttle. If you're renting a car, it is, probably I think it's like an hour and 10-minute drive. It's not too bad. So like we talked about last week, my strong encouragement is you to start coordinating travels with people coming in from different regions, or even just throw it on the group me, hey, here's when it looks like I might arrive before you book that ticket, and try to line it up with a couple different people just to avoid the buses and the nightmare that is, and let the 18-year-olds all ride on the bus together. But if you can work out a different way to get there, I would always encourage that. But that's up to you. If you want to, if you're a glutton for punishment, enjoy public transportation. I hear it's wonderful.
No, the time frame is a little bit of a struggle for the West Coast guys. Like we
Awesome,
lose a
yeah.
lot of time going that way.
It's
No big deal. We'll
Yeah.
make it work.
no, my world also coming out of an airport with with 2 departing flights a day. I either get there at 11 o'clock at night or 8 in the morning. So,
Hey, Ryan, just a heads up too, like because I'm flying from the West Coast, I was able to put in a request miraculously. I got approved by Natalie. I was like, I need to get in early so that I'm not really late. So she's aware of guys coming from the West Coast in. So if you decide to book your flight and you land at like a direct flight, but you land at like 7 a.m., chances are she might do it. She did it for me at least.
yeah, and then and I realize also it's a big ask because we're already asking you to take time off of work. So to take that much more time off to get in earlier for some people is difficult. And if it doesn't work for you, by all means, we will understand and we'll take photos so you can find out what you missed out on if you're unable to make it. Okay.
Can somebody call Natalie from Agaw and pretend to be him?
G usually
Yeah,
books
there's no
God's
fucking way.
travel.
There's no fucking way I'm getting there till 7
I hear Bowling Green, Kentucky is beautiful in August though, so enjoy that. So
I mean, I have to go to Anchorage first, and then get have my luggage lost before I get routed back. Just saying.
Question from
Only trying to
Rocky.
get this true, fuckers.
Question from Rocky that I'll just share with the group really quick too if you didn't see it. We had talked last call about getting a talking points sheet out to you before you start contacting chapters. You will have that by the middle of the week. So if you haven't seen that, when you get your chapter assignment, please feel free to reach out to me. Those of you that are comfortable reaching out without that, feel free, but we will get that best practices sheet out to you, like I said, probably by Wednesday is my goal. So moving forward, I'm really excited to turn things over to Jim Holcomb, not just because he is an amazing resource to have on our committee, but because he's an amazing resource to have on our committee. Stunning good looks, boyish wit. I mean, you just keep it coming.
It'll never be enough.
He has been nominated to be our next Grand Tribune, and so if you know people that have, I don't know if I can share that, Jim. I'm going to share that because I think it's pretty awesome. Do you know people that are going to Grand Chapter and have votes? I would, by all means, pin their ear back and tell them about how amazing of a resource, for our Pro Consul team and for our fraternity that Brother Holcomb is. So that being said, I'm going to move these awesome PowerPoint slides into the window here, if I can get it to work. And Jim is going to have the show. Can everyone see that? Is that working? Slideshow from the beginning.
Yeah.
That's not where I want it. Son of a bitch technology.
No, that's right. That was the start.
Oh, I've got, whoops, that's not the one. That's, okay, we're just going to go this way. It's the presenter view. I don't know why it's working that way, but we're going to go with it. So,
all right.
That being said, you just tell me when you want me to click.
Perfect. Hey, well, guys, for those of you who can see the slides, there's a lot of information going to come your way. I do talk very fast, so for those just listening on their phones, I will try to synthesize this and slow it down as much as I can. What we're going to do here for the next 4 hours is give you a nice recap of P4, just kidding, not 4 hours, just a recap of P4B, where we are with regards to compliance, and so how P4B is working. And then I want to give you guys an update on Ritual for Life. As we just had a meeting this last weekend with our committee. Our committee has given it its full blessing. Tommy Gettings was there, Steve Schuyler was there, Bob Wilson was there, and they were duly impressed as well. So I'm excited to finally be able to share some stuff with you. We also framed out what our time collectively as a division is going to look like at workshop, and I can share that with you as well. So without further ado, Wake, let's do it. Next slide, sir.
Gotcha. I thought you meant something else. Sorry, I got flustered.
All right, don't worry about it, buddy. You're doing great. Wake, you're fantastic. Oh, hold on. I'm being beckoned. Yes, sir. Is another one coming on? What? It'll come on. I'm flying single parent tonight and this week. So Truman, the terrorist cell, is very demanding. He knows that, hey, anything can go when Dad's on the conference call. So I don't know, something about Coke and hookers and Silence of the Lambs. So anyway, so let's talk compliance. And here we're talking specifically about pledge class length as an adherence to the governing laws. So Wick, if you can click, and that will open up all the stats there. So 73%, we have a 73% adherence to the governing laws. That is down from 11% from fall semester. 56 chapters, or 28%, have a pledge class at or below 8 weeks long. That's great. That's where we want them. Average length is 7 weeks. This number is up from the last update by 3 chapters. 45% of our chapters, or 90 of them, have pledge classes between 8 and 9.5 weeks. Average length is 8.8 weeks, and this number is down from the last update by 5 chapters. 27% of the chapters, or 54 of them, have pledge classes over 9.5 weeks, and then the average length is 10.9 weeks. And this number is up from the last report by 1 chapter. So finish up this slide. 1 chapter, Ada Gamma at Middle Tennessee, shows a negative amount for their pledge length, pledging on 4/26, initiation on 4/22, which seems weird. So something clearly went off there because they pinned their guys after they initiated them. Seems odd. So what that shows us is, a couple things. One, I think there's still some folks getting familiar with the administrative side of things, and the other. I'm sorry. Hold on. You guys want to see a beating of a truck? Come here. Let's say hi to the guys. Hey, everybody. Oh, look at that. Well, you have to be on camera if you want to interrupt me. So, sorry, guys. Hold on. Hey, Truman. Give me just a quick second. I'll be over there, okay? Thanks a lot, bud. Okay, so that's compliance and strictly adherence to the 8-week pledge program. So now we're talking about average course completion for the spring. And so this would be the second full semester that everybody has been on P4B. 91% of the chapters adhered to the P4B curriculum. And what that means is they've done all the modules, they've done them in order. Are they doing things outside of that? Yes, in some cases. But we know that guys are getting the curriculum that we've designed. 153 chapters, or 84%, adhered to P4B curriculum perfectly. 29 chapters were near flawless, and 3 chapters were outright non-compliant, and that's Penn, Florida, and Stanford. So I had one other point to that. So compared to the 2016 fall semester, we're a positive 8% from the fall semester with regards to compliance, and guys doing all the modules. One of the upsides, this is what I was thinking about, we had several self-reporting incidents of hazing and non-compliance from the pledges, and that comes in week 2 when we talk about Jordan Initiative and our values and standards regarding pledge education and the ritual. Pledges are self-reporting, and so we're getting a pretty good idea of where chapters are deviating greatly from P4B.
Hey Jim, it's Conway here. Sorry guys, I'm on my car phone. What is the recourse for some of the chapters that were non-compliant, like you talked about, like the Penns and the Stanford?
Yeah, unknown at this time, brother, and not really my wheelhouse. But 7-day letters, calls to the paraders, and there's a bit of hey, what the hell's going on here? But between us, I'm not really optimistic about the accountability side for that sort of gross noncompliance.
Hey, Jim.
Okay, cool.
It's
Thanks,
Bobby.
man.
Yeah, Bobby.
Hey, Jim. I thought that they said that Stanford was good. They were just trying to get caught up, and it looked like they were going to catch up, but that Florida and Penn State were not. Is that correct?
I don't recall that about Stanford definitively. I hope you're right. If I miss that at the meeting, then by all means. But Stanford is one of those that think they can do it better, and that P4B isn't smart enough for them. We've heard this before from Brown, and it almost never seems to really be the case. But I've got a lot of confidence in the Praetor out there and the chapter advisors. So whatever's going on, I'm sure they'll get to the bottom of it and get those guys up to speed.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk initiation statistics. 196 or 98% of our chapters have already completed initiation for the spring. DePaul is initiating. They initiated last weekend. Stanford and Cal Poly are initiating on 6/3. So to Bobby's point, they will likely be caught up before they initiate. UC San Diego is initiating on June 10th. And Washington State still shows an initiation date of 11/4/17, which should be an almost 40-week pledge program, which we assume is incorrect. From initiated chapters, 13 chapters have more pledges in the program than in Sigma Chi, than the pledge education system than in Sigma Chi U. So we're finding we have a challenge with reconciling depledging from the locals with who isn't doing P4B anymore. So if a chapter depledges a guy but doesn't report it, he still shows up on their books, and that raises concern at the fraternity level, at the international level, because we show a guy who's just not doing P4B. Meanwhile, the chapter has depledged him. 43 chapters have initiated but still have pledges who have not completed the e-learning. For the most part, this is likely because they need McGeester final approval that the exam was passed. But there's still a good chunk of chapters much further behind than just that, and those will be listed below. Actually, they won't be listed below. That was in our previous presentation. Not terribly important for this, but I will say with the non-compliance, I will say that a small percentage of that is probably just computer or system, not a system error, but a failure to get it reconciled in the system by the undergrads. So once we learn how to report it, I think our numbers are going to get a little cleaner and a little tighter, and show better results there. But I think overall, man, I'm pretty happy with where we are, considering where we were 2 summers ago with outright insurrection and calls for me to go fuck myself. I like where we're at, man, with this compliance. So and the testimonials, man, we're getting are great. The undergrads that I work with who've gone through P4B are fantastic. I got a video from Craig Herring, one of the Praetors down in somewhere in the South. I think it was Tennessee, one of the Tennessee chapters. And in their Parents' Day slideshow presentation, they spent about 3 minutes on P4B, and there were a lot of shots about the character education, and how impactful that was. So I mean, small wins here and there, man. I think we've moved the needle. It'll be interesting to see how the summer goes, but we're optimistic that the ball is moving. We've got some good guys over in McGeester faculty still, and our hope is that we'll have another successful rollout for the summer. Before we roll into Ritual for Life, any questions I can address about P4B? Anybody on this call not know what P4B is? It's fair if you're new. Jim?
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, that's right. All right, great. And let me just throw this out. If you guys want a more in-depth, or you have questions about the curriculum, happily email me. We can talk offline about that. So
on that really quick, Jim, I'll jump in. On our website, we also have a great recorded call from Mark Galbo. That was a real deep dive into P4B also. That if you are new to the team this year, I would really encourage you to, at least play the video through your Bluetooth while you're driving and just listen to the program, because Mark did a great job of explaining it to us. I'm out.
Yeah, that's okay. To that, yeah, don't email me. Just listen to Mark's. Mark is way more detailed and can give you all the insights to P4B, and it will make sense. So listen to that call. market is absolutely fantastic. So to the new shiny toy, man, Ritual for Life. Very cool, and it's sort of the the next stage in the learning continuum following P4B, right? So the concern is, hey, we've got this great preparation for brotherhood program. What's the anchor on the other side? What grounds them in the ritual? You know, what's the payoff? And we discovered last summer during our McEaster Ginormous session, Bobby was up there actually addressing the group and made some reference to PIT. And there was a collective, question mark above the crowd's head. And, Bobby asked the question, hey, who here has like an hour-long PIT that gets you into the meeting or no PIT at all? And like 85% of the hands went up. And, so there was definitely a learning void, man. And just talking about integrity, we promised these pledges, especially the chapters at Hayes, hey, you endure all this stuff and we're going to pay it off with this great initiation and all these secrets and lifelong brotherhood, and it's all just garbage because they do a horrible job of teaching our ritual. Their performance is lackluster and their explanation of things is lacking. So we set about to create a new PIT program. We wanted to change the name, sort of rebrand it, and Ritual for Life is where we ended up. You'll see on the screen that the Ritual for Life curriculum has 3 courses. And there's a little bit of, we're talking about time frame, like when this is to be done. I know the latest it is to be done is before the next pledge class is initiated. So if you're a fall pledge and you have a spring pledge class, you got to get Ritual for Life finished before the next class is initiated. And that just makes sense so that you understand what it is you're witnessing or participating in, and you'll have a better appreciation seeing it the second time. So I think we'll probably put a hard limit on there, like 10 weeks. So if you're a fall school with a fall class but no spring class, we're not dragging our feet. The Ritual for Life curriculum is done in 10 weeks. So the plan for this is we're going to do a pilot this fall that will be 30, we have 37 schools, I think it is, and we'll get all their feedback. Each chapter will be assigned a mentor to help walk them through the R4L process, but there won't be a spring pilot because we won't be able to get the feedback back to us in time, right? So it's an 8-week program. Some of these guys start February, March. We won't have time as a committee to meet, take all the feedback, adapt all the changes to the manuals, print it, get it rolled out, get it approved by the ELB, the EC, Grand Council if they want to do that, get it printed and launched at next summer's BLTW. So one pilot, 37 schools with a launch fraternity-wide in summer of 18 at BLTW, and it'll be a mandated program. I'm not in the compliance business, so I don't know what mandated program means if nobody is enforcing it, but I'm cautiously optimistic that we're not going to have the hurdles before us that we did with P4B. I think guys want this. Every time we talk about it, it's the ritual, so guys, walk around with a bit of enthusiasm in their pants for ritual. So again, I'm cautiously optimistic. And with the curriculum that we've put together, I think that's only we're going to capitalize on that already internal enthusiasm. So let me give you an idea of what this looks like. Again, 3 courses. If you're familiar with P4B, it follows the same sort of format. There's some pre-session activities. There is group session learning, experiential activities, and a post-session activity. The post-session activities typically are the Sigma Chi stuff. We shot some more videos this weekend. We had a couple of the past grand historians with us in Denver. Codina was a designated survivor, so he wasn't allowed to come. And so let me walk you through what Course 1 looks like. Now you'll see Course 1, there's really no pre-session e-learning activity. The pre-session activity, of course, is your initiation. So that initial group session is led by the proconsul, just as it is now and as prescribed by the ritual. And that lasts about 90 minutes, or almost 2 hours actually, as we include a mock chapter meeting in there. And these are the things, man, that what we cover in this 90 minutes is everything they need to know to get into and fully participate in their first chapter meeting. So we start off with the purpose of Ritual for Life. Talk about the confidentiality of the ritual, why it is we keep it secret. Where do we keep the black books in the house? There's an introduction to the chapter meeting. Every chapter operates differently. Some guys dress up for it. Some guys dress up only first meeting of the month. So we'll talk about the local culture of that chapter. Talk about why the ritual meetings are important. Talk about the physical arrangement of the chapter, where they will sit when they get there. And that links back to our RBCs. Ritual in the chapter meeting, ritualistic procedures. Obviously, we'll cover the challenge and all these things to allow these guys, again, to look like they know their stuff when they go there. We're going to talk about the memorization requirements and why it is we memorize things in the ritual. Then, as we've done in PITs forever, we're going to AAR P4B. So the big questions that we're going to talk about: hey, were you prepared to see the initiation? Did it make sense? What did you like best or least about P4B? Did initiation, again, did it make sense? Did it connect with P4B? And then we'll wrap it up with date of the next chapter meeting. Then we spend 20 minutes doing a mock chapter meeting. And so, again, everything from, hey, these guys arrive, proconsul, will play the role of the consul, which he probably does in his room home alone at night, call the meeting to order, call for the annotator to pass the challenge, et cetera, et cetera. And they will run through that one time or as many times as they want until they're proficient. Again, it calls for almost 2 hours. These guys are welcome to spend as much time as they like. Course 1 has to be the first course they do for a number of reasons. One, it gets them on Sigma Chi U, logged in as users of the Ritual for Life. 2, it's, there's typically not a lot of time between initiation and the guy's first chapter meeting, especially if they're running a 8-week, 6-week, 4-week pledge program. They will likely have several chapter meetings that semester remaining. So we want to make sure they can get up and participate. One quick second, guys. So then after that meeting, they get on to Sigma Chi U, and those videos very similar to P4B. If you've seen any of those. So 1.1 is an introduction to Ritual for Life. 1.2 is how to use the ritual book. This will be a virtual and interactive walkthrough, the sections of the book and their purposes. No secretive text will be shown. Wake, you can put up that next slide if you want, but we'll be coming back here to course 2 in a minute. Then 1.3 of that first online lesson is what I've called Sig by the Numbers, and it's a thing anybody who's been around for a while has heard me talk about, and that's slide 7 there, Wake. Sorry, guys, I heard a lot that it was the kid. And that's where, hey, we talk about the things that are important in here. We extrapolate on that. The proconsul will have a manual to walk through all of these things, much like the Magister does in P4B. So he'll have a script, that is a guide. Obviously, we want them to know it better than simply just reading it, but it's there for him as a resource. There will be a PowerPoint developed for that course as well. And then finally, online, we're doing a legendary leaders, and so we've tried to identify some other Sigma Chi's outside the founders that have embodied these values and ideals that we're talking about. And hey, greatness is achieved when you embrace our values and ideals. And each with their own story. Some of the names you'll recognize: Joe Nate, Doug Carlson, Bob Collette. These things are all taken. I'm sorry. So these stories are all taken from those histories. The ones that we're using in the first session is John McMillan, who's obviously our first Grand Consul, but also helped organize the fraternity's governance. Doug Carlson. We would know very little about our fraternity's ritual history were it not for Doug. Finally, we'll be talking about Norman Brewer, the Grand Consul who abolished the White Claws. Give me one quick second there, guys. Truman, how you doing, buddy? You good? Okay. Okay. So, Wick, if you go back up to the slide that shows Course 2. Now, Course 2 is going to be a ritual peer led session. And this is where we talk about all the double top secret stuff. So their pre-session e-learning activity will last about 20 minutes, and that gives them an overview of the 3 eras of the ritual. It also defines enlightenment, ceremony order, the initiation, and sort of sets these guys up to be participants in the group session. So the chapter is to schedule a ritual peer to come to their chapter, and this meeting lasts about 80 minutes. Obviously, it can go longer depending on interest and what guys are interested in learning about. But in this, we're going to talk about meaning of symbols, colors, the mottos, interpretations of the ceremony. And again, the benefit of this, guys, is this creates a common language for us. And give you an example, before P4B, guys would swear that the Jordan Standard was ritual, Man in the Glass was ritual, and that nothing was more important than measuring yourself by the Jordan Standard. Hold on, guys, sorry. I need a minute. Here you go. Come on. Okay. So what this does with the ritual peer is it allows these guys to come in, share that common culture, clarify some nonsensical rumors out there about additional secret mottos and all that stupid nonsense that's out there, and it allows our guys to move on and move forward again with a common language and a common shared culture that isn't left to somebody who doesn't understand it or doesn't care about it. These guys have a chance to get it from a ritual peer, which is good because another bonus to this is we're now incorporating another committee into this learning, brings more brothers in. Some chapters who don't have a ritual peer near them, maybe they can get some of their alumni on board and get them trained. This is also a chance for peer certification of the chapter's ritual performance. If a chapter is on the ball, they can invite the ritual peer to, to do the group session before or after a ritual meeting, and the ritual peer could stay there and certify their ritual performance. So the post session for that, 30 minutes, they're going to examine the ritual order, regalia placement, the initiation ceremony order, etc. We're going to talk about ritual renaissance certification, and then there'll be some application and journaling in that as well. Then we've got course 3, and pre-session is about 10 minutes long, and we're talking about the architecture. And course 3 really is all about the Sigma Chi architecture. And for those of you who are around during the Cornerstone era, all of this is going to sound very familiar, and it's pretty fantastic. And going back to those things I was discussing with you earlier, this builds for us a common language. And puts things in their proper place and perspective. It's really a visual that unfortunately we don't have here in the PowerPoint, but it's a visual that shows the various aspects of Sigma Chi as the framework for a building, right? And so the standard is the foundation. Our governing laws, our 7 virtues, are the pillars. Our values and ideals that as we escalate and get closer to the top of the roof. Are represented by the badge and our 3 great aims, and these are the things that we are to strive for. I realize I've neglected my slides here. So for those of you watching, Wink, if you'll hit the ones, slide 9. And so these are some of the slides that we're going to be using during the ritual peer ceremony, or the ritual peer presentation. And wait, once you get down to slide 11, there you go. Like this one's pretty cool, and quite simply, things in white are things that the public sees. Things in black are things that we keep in secret, and then colors. Our colors have meaning, have importance, and it's important that these guys understand what those are. Next slide, Bill. And so, then we just start breaking it down. Hey, what do the class hands mean? Where do we see them? Obviously, we see them on the badge. What do they mean? Next slide there, Wick. Gold, what does it mean? Worth, value. Is there a difference, when we change our name from Sigma Phi to Sigma Chi? What does that have to do with our colors? As we talk about indicating value and worth. Next slide. You guys get the idea, right? So we're going to break down symbol by symbol and really try to draw these guys into a conversation, and hopefully they leave the discussion with the ritual peer fully understanding that, hey man, just about everything that we see in a ritual has purpose, has meaning, has direct connection to the ritual of the founders, and further helps us exemplify the values and ideals and the meaning of our virtues. So you can just go through those, Wake, if you want to give the guys a look. Let's keep going. Perfect. Okay, so let me get back to so that's the course 3. Sorry guys, having some awesome. I hear a dog panting somewhere. So let's talk about workshop and what this looks like. So working with Wake, we've got a core session within the division to train all the pro consuls on the new curriculum. So every pro consul will be trained. We've only got 37 pilots, but which means that only 37 chapters can access Sigma Chi U. Every pro consul who comes there, if you're with a chapter that does not have a PIT or one that they're not proud of, or they want to test drive this stuff, great. We will have the manuals there for all 240 chapters that want to participate. Every ritual peer will understand, they will have a copy of their PowerPoint and should be willing to come to the chapters and give this presentation. They can run about 75% of this new R4L program. The only thing they won't see are the videos from Sigma Chi U. Right, so the pro consuls can come back as a conquering hero, man, with a brand new PIT, as they would know it for now, for their chapter for the fall. Let's take a look at what workshop looks like. Slide 22 there, Wake. So breaks it down for us. Day 2, so that's going to be Friday. We've got 9 to 11:30 in Officer Core Session 2. 9 to 9:40, we're going to do an introduction and an overview of Course 1. 9:40 to 10:05, an overview of Course 2. Just going to give them a little taste of the smack, boys, because later that night or at SIGFest, we do the ritual thing, and we're going to have the ritual peers and hopefully Carlson and maybe Bob Jones walk through the entire 90-minute ritual peer presentation that we're going to use in R4L. 10:05 to 10:40, we're going to go over Course 3. 10:40 to 11 o'clock, we'll open it up to Q&A. 11 to 11:30, we've got Dale Thomas and Jesse Trout walking through facilitation skills. And this is hugely important. Obviously, we would love to have more time to do this, but 30 minutes is a good start. My observations of P4B and its execution left me with this note. The program rises and falls with the preparation of the Magister in P4B. Right? It doesn't matter, we can write great curriculum, we can put together a great script in PowerPoint, but if the Magister doesn't read it, if he doesn't prepare for it, it's going to fall flat. Same is true with R4L, with anything, as you guys know. That's why we're having these meetings now, right? So that we all walk into workshop better prepared. We're going to have Jesse and Dale talk about facilitation skills and how to get the best out of a presentation. From 12 to 1:15, where they're going to take our 37 pilot chapters and pair them up with their mentors, and that's where we are going to spend time talking to them about the pilot process. So we're not wasting the entire core group's time with that, but but rather just we're going to suck up their lunch for our pilot chapters there. Which brings me to you guys, right? So actually, we hit the last slide, and you'll see a list of the pilot chapters that we've selected. All these guys are volunteers. Unlike P4B, there are no voluntold on this list. And these, by volunteer, these came from the chapters themselves, not their praetor volunteering them. So pretty excited about that. This brings me to you guys and what you guys can do to help. On the off chance we get some resistance, what I would ask of you guys is to embrace the vision of Ritual for Life and not this version of Ritual for Life. Don't get sucked down the rabbit hole of, oh, well, my chapter, we do this, and our PIT is better. But the bottom line, man, is 85% of our guys do nothing. And so let's talk about that. Let's talk about the need for that. And I think that's a legit and realistic sell. And as great as their PIT is, I would bet, whatever chapter claims to have a great one, it's likely inconsistent. Here again, we're establishing consistency with our most important commodity, and that's our ritual. So embrace the vision of doing this and not necessarily this version. This will change after the pilot, and these guys, don't know, what the final product will be. Like, I don't know what the final product will be. Anybody giving some pushback, my first question would be, did you sign up to be a pilot? And if not, the conversation's kind of over. If they wanted some input there. Next, full disclosure here in the group, one of the things that we attempted to do was move the responsibility of Ritual for Life away from the proconsul and over to the custos. And the belief was, hey man, we've created curriculum for proconsuls for 25 years, and none of them do it. My observation is nobody runs for proconsul to deliver PIT. We need to remind them, or maybe share with them for the first time that this is their job, and this may be their most important job. And the future of their chapter rises and falls on how well they execute this. It's not a heavy lift, but something that is important and that they need to prepare for. So, I think we need to sort of double down on that this year. And no disrespect to anybody, but I know in our time in proconsul before, PIT hasn't played a significant part. We've had small presentations, but we spent a lot of time talking about JBoards and EC, and subsequently, Ritual sort of falls by the wayside, where maybe if we spent a little more time on Ritual, we'd have fewer JBoard issues. So, and then finally, no, that's it. Yeah, that's it for me, guys. I appreciate your patience. I know that's a lot to digest, but what are your questions?
Hey, Jim, it's Jim Connell.
Yeah, man.
Hey, on the metrics, I know we had a lot with P4B. Will there be something regarding the virtues, and i.e., how many people really understood the 7 virtues, the pre-P4B generation, the post-P4B generation, and then something to look back after Ritual for Life is rolled out? Because everybody always knows the 7 lines of the George Standard. You ask 10 guys at LTW, half of them don't know what the 7 lights are. Does that make sense? Can you hear me?
I think he froze up. Either that or he's really pondering if you have the video.
I heard you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he froze up.
I think he just dropped off. Jim, hopefully we get him back on to answer that question here in a second. I will tell you I did put the ask in this weekend to get all of you access to Ritual for Life's content prior to workshop, much like we got access to P4B last year. I do think it's important that you see all of that curriculum so you are versed in it and know what to talk about. One of the things that you'll notice is they do get all of session 2 on the schedule. So that means we don't get small group time for session 2. G and I have talked about that, and we're going to do our best to really streamline the opening to get you as much small group time in that as possible. So bear with us on that while we continue to work through that. We didn't find out till this weekend that the committee wanted that whole window, but I'm glad they're taking it because we have the opportunity to be part of something that's really cool. So any other Ritual for Life questions while we still wait for Jim to come back to answer Jim's other question? And Jim, you may want to you can follow up in the group meet also because Holcomb's on that pretty active. Oh wait, I think he's back.
Okay, nobody ask another question.
I had a Jim just joined flash up on mine, but I don't see the video. Are you back
And
yet,
Jim, that's what I think of your question. All right. Sorry, guys. I don't know what happened. My apologies. Jim, did somebody else tackle that, or was anybody able to?
We left it for you.
Okay. So, Jim, if in summary, I think you're looking for some sort of metric to gauge understanding about the values and virtues pre-P4B, post-P4B. Yeah. That would be tough to measure, right? I think what I do know is for the first time in P4B, we've actually defined the virtues, and tried to give some common language to them so that, courage doesn't mean telling the university to go F itself. That's not necessarily, the definition of virtue or of courage that we want everybody running around with. I know there's a metrics committee that seeks to measure everything we do so that, they can continue to get money from the foundation. But anecdotally, things that I've seen would indicate that, man, we're getting a better quality member from P4B because of the very thing that we've talked about, and that's common language, consistent messaging. So much so, guys, I don't know if you know this, but P4B got endowed this last year. So $250,000 endowment from an alumnus who was just really impressed with the curriculum we put forth. We suspect that R4L is also going to get endowed and that we may get individual sponsors for individual weeks of P4B as well. So alumni and people that care about leadership education are really excited. Pepperdine University, upon seeing the curriculum, is, I say considering, I don't know where they are in this process, but we learned this weekend, that it's likely that members of Sigma Chi who complete P4B will be eligible for college credit toward a minor in ethical leadership. So, I'm sure there'd be another class or two they'd have to take, but most of our guys can walk out of Pepperdine with a minor in ethical leadership because of the curriculum that we've all put together. So I think that's pretty amazeballs and pretty exciting stuff. Yeah, I don't know that that's a great answer for you, Jim, but hopefully I've given you some indication that that it is working. Thanks, man. What else can we do for you guys?
3,000-year-old. Jim, let me. Rocky had a question over the chat. Jim, what is your vision for when Course 1 will be executed? Namely, initiation ends 11 to 11:30 on Saturday after a long night. Then we have a chapter meeting the next night, question mark?
Yeah, so if you have a chapter meeting, 7 o'clock on Sunday, probably 4 o'clock, a 4 o'clock Course 1. And this is where it would naturally fall anyway, what should be the first meeting of PIT, or what was the old PIT program. The guys aren't doing it. In P4B, there's really no surprise about when guys are getting initiated. It's an 8-week program. They've got their process at a glance. We should tell them in advance, and one thing we should encourage our pro consuls to do, and schedule all 3 courses of of R4L in advance and say, block these out for next semester. You know, before you get anything going on, you've got that first Sunday. We have, you know, the ritual peer would be, a week later or whatever it is they decide to do it, and then follow up and close out with that third course that the Pro Consul leads. So, yeah, it's planning, but yeah, it's the way it should be happening. Rocky says, makes sense. Perfect. Thanks, man. All right, what else, guys?
Any other questions for Jim from anyone? Jim?
No, I'm not suggesting.
Sorry.
Yeah, I see Ben's question out there. I am not suggesting that they don't have the first R4L that same weekend. Well, let me put it this way. If you're a first chapter meeting, the first course has to be done before that first chapter meeting. So if you guys, initiate the week before spring break, then you guys don't have another chapter meeting until, a week later, whatever it is, as long as it occurs before that first meeting. Now, I mean, if for some reason you have no more chapter meetings before, or rather after your initiation, and guys go on break, I think you owe it to them to have the first Ritual for Life course, so they have a chance to talk and share their insights as to what it is they experienced, and so that if there are any lingering questions, we can clear those up.
Hey, Jim, did you see Tovar's question on the chat? Also, you were presenting. I'm just now catching up because apparently my chat didn't scroll. But he asked if there was a way to include maybe a section of how to wear your badge and why. Not sure you're looking for additional content, but I know a lot of people have watched some of the videos for P4B and the other videos that we've shot, and it seems to be a hodgepodge of badge wearing. So
interesting.
Not a bad thought for you there.
Yeah. No. Is that in the Norman Shield?
I don't have that answer for you.
Yeah, I think that is in the Norman Shield. So, but well, in short, there is a prescribed way to wear the badge. But if you look at the old photos of the founders, man, you got them on the big ascots, you got them on their lapels. It's it is a hodgepodge.
So you're saying we should get ascots for workshop?
Yes. Yes. That is the new cargo shorts, ascots. But Tovar, I'd be interested to see or to better understand what it is you're seeing that needs some remedy. The sleepy badge or the upright badge, maybe, or and we can hit this offline. But
yeah, I see them wear them on lapels. I see them wear them without a collar, and they don't understand why the badge is slanted, and also how to address someone that is wearing it wrong because they just don't know, and just feel comfortable approaching the person and say, hey, pull them to the side and tell them, listen, do you understand that we wear the badge slanted because that's how, you wear the lances at night and so on and so forth. And I think it's just tell them, and people just take the opportunity, take pride, and make sure you wear it over your heart. Just go over it. It's simple. It shouldn't take long. But I'm gonna make it a point with my chapter in my undergrad, when they leave LTW, that they know how to wear the badge, and then they know how to challenge, which we should all do anyway.
Yes.
Instead of having that crazy bird. But
well, it's funny. I know a lot of guys take on the practice of challenging the guys before their very first small group breakout, right? It gives you a pretty good indication of what you're looking at.
And, they go back. When you come back, I challenge them every time. I don't know. Just hanging out with G is enough. I don't trust that fucker. Look at him.
He is swarthy. Okay. No, yeah, great. Good thoughts there, guys. Thanks. What else? All right.
Like I said when he was offline, Jim keeps a pretty good presence in our Pro Consul group me. So if you have other questions, please tag him in there and ask for the group. And Jim, thank you so much for sharing the progress of both of your committees with us, and which is just like I said, we're very lucky to have you. So appreciate the time spent.
Thanks, man. Kenny's trash is Wakefield's treasure.
There you go. Gotta love it. That being said, let's start our wrap up question for a couple things. Oh, someone. What?
Hey, it's Gorov. Can I jump in real quick?
Please do.
Hey, for you guys that are here on this call, if you know you're already going to be renting a car and driving, will you please email me that you'll be getting a car and driving? I would like to start a spreadsheet I'll share with everyone, and we could try to make sure everyone maximizes and fills up seats in their car if they're driving, so, Bobby doesn't have to stand outside in corduroy pants again, because we don't need to see that.
I wish you'd have been on time for the call. I feel like we've used all this material once already. Thank you, G. Moving right along. Tom Hanratty, it says you're on the call. I don't really know if you are. I was informed this weekend that we were losing you as staff support and gaining Anthony Monk. So I don't know if Anthony's on and not you, but if either of you are here, you want to clarify and just let us know what's up?
Tom Hanratty's here. I did not know if we were switched, so if so, that was the first time I just heard of it.
Well, it did not come from me. I was just told in Chicago. So why don't you look into that? We would love to retain you if possible. But if you're leaving for greener pastures, so be it, I guess, also. So why don't you look into that?
Ryan and Tom, it's Anthony.
Anthony?
So,
yeah, we're doubling up tonight.
Yeah. I know. So I will be, Tom, I thought I told you this, but so I will be staffing the P3BR4L committee from now on. So I will be doing the Pro Consul staff support as well at BLTW. So.
Sounds good by me.
Awesome.
All right.
Monk,
so,
welcome to the jungle, dude.
Thank you, Monk, for joining us. Tom, thank you so much for
All
your
righty
support
then.
also. So, all right. So that being said, let's wrap up. Let's share the great things that are going on in our lives, our everyday getting better section. So, you've heard a lot from Jim. You've heard a lot from me. You heard a lot of what I said earlier from G. So would love just for you guys to tell us about your life and what's going on great before we wrap up for the night.
Leroy Jenkins. I'm going to Bottle Rock, Napa in like 3 days. I'm very excited.
Nice.
That's it. Love you guys. Listening now.
Anyone else? Greatness
It's
happening.
Conway here.
Yeah.
Conway's here. Work kind of sucks balls, but I would like to say the Eobot Nation is sweeping, and it is tied here in Pittsburgh, and some of my coworkers are using Eobot in presentations and in everyday life. So Pro Consul's influence is widespreading. Love you all.
Hey guys, for my part, and what you want obviously is more Holcomb. Man, feeling great after this weekend in Denver, and I'm really glad that R4L was so well received. I use the analogy. Remember in the Saving Private Ryan, storming the beach, and the medic is trying to patch the guy's chest up, and the Nazis shoot him in the head, and the medic just says, just give me an effing chance, just give us an effing chance. I felt like that medic a lot the last couple of years, and I feel like we're off the beach, and I'm really excited. I'm excited with the foothold that P4B has, and I really think Ritual for Life has the potential to really anchor that program and really give you guys, man, the fraternity that you've all worked for as long as you've been in. You're here. That tells me that you're good human beings. It's a chance to give you the fraternity that you've worked for, and one that the undergraduates deserve. So I'm really excited about that. I couldn't be happier to take this walk with you guys, and my confidence in you is total. So let's go frickin' be awesome.
Yeah, so this is Inman. My boss is happy that baseball season is over. And if any of you come through any of my 4 chapters, here's a fascinating thing. Just to kind of piggyback on what Holcomb is saying, you know, we have the opportunity to be the underground, you know, sentinels, basically, of the concept going back to the 7 lights. We started bouncing off my chapters and my alums the importance of relegating the Jordan Standard to recruitment, and that after recruitment is finished, our focus is on those 7 lights, and that's how we live our lives.
Yeah.
And we have the opportunities to be the forebearers of that and kind of start that campaign. And it's really pretty awesome because ultimately the whole concept of the standard, which is wonderful, but it's not as important as what, you know, the way we're going to live our life the rest of our days on this earth. So I think that's part of why it's really important what we're going to do.
Awesome. Anything else from anyone else? Thank you for sharing that, Scott, by the way.
This is Jim. I just bought my ticket to Ireland.
Nice.
It's round trip, though. Don't worry.
Bless your lucky charms. Hey, brothers, this is Jose Tovar here, and I'm already thinking ahead, and I can see Richard for Life being a hit with alumni and being a great tool and a catalyst to engage some of those brothers that perhaps through no fault of their own never got it or forgot it. So I'm already visiting alumni chapters and making the pitch. I think it's going to be well received. I'm excited. I'm looking beyond the undergrads.
So far, you're not the only one, buddy. Yeah.
I'll go on a completely unrelated note, similar to Jim Connell's. Steph and I are going to Spain for 10 days in October. We just booked that. And Donahue, I now feel your pain because Steph and I just jumped off a cliff and decided we're buying a new house. That is a miserable experience for all of you who've done it, and it's going to suck. But
Good
thank
luck,
you.
This is when a marriage really gets tested.
Yeah, we figured,
Bro,
you know.
Are you buying the home out in D.C., you said?
We are, yeah.
You should have seen the wedding planning phase. Are you kidding me?
Oh, my God. Hey, listen.
This ought to be interesting.
Your home is halfway decent as your best man speech, Gaurav. I'm sure it's going to be gorgeous.
Oh, that's going to be special. Thanks, Ramrod. Thanks.
Oh my God!
All right, awesome. Let's wrap it up. Love just seeing you just starting to bond and sharing some laughs, which is phenomenal. If anyone's having problems getting a hold of their team teaching partner, I know some of you have. Let G and I know so we can help facilitate that contact. We do have some members of our team that have been busy and a little non-committal at this point. So if we can help facilitate that initial contact with you, reach out to us and let us know that you're hitting those roadblocks, so you're not trying to walk alone. But we will do this again in a month. We're so far ahead of the game in Chicago. I found out that we are about the only team that have done any conference calls, any training at all at this point, which puts us one more year out there en route to being the best prepared and having the most fun. just focus on getting to workshop and loving each other and being great. So have a wonderful night. Thank you so much for your time. And if you haven't filled out those things I keep asking for, let's get that done. And we will see you all again online in a few weeks. Have a great night.
Holcomb for Grand Tribune.